I'd like to call to order the City Council meeting for August 2nd. Please stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Before the roll, I just wanted to mention, I wanted to thank everybody for observing our mask rule now. And I wanted to remind the council members and Mr. Gombeck, as well as Chief Thomas and Mr. Corrin, that when you talk, you may want to take your mask down so people could hear you through your microphone. We have the roll, please.
Vaughn.
Here.
Sullivan.
Here.
Schauer.
Here.
Kenny.
Here.
Gustafson. Clistic.
Here.
Belzak. 5 present and 2 absent.
We have a quorum. That takes us to questions, comments, and announcements of a general nature. This is something we put in our agenda years ago. This gives people an opportunity to speak to any topic. It may be on our agenda, maybe it's not on our agenda, but they are limited to 3 minutes, but they can present something to the council. So if anyone would like to address the council on a topic that's not on the agenda or on the agenda, please come forward and state your name.
I'm George Strom with LRS. Good evening, board members. Thank you for the time this evening. My name is George Strom. I'm the Vice President of Municipal Services for LRS. We are one of the largest independently owned waste and recycling companies in the United States. We're very interested in your city as it is a strategic location for our business. We process our own recycling about 12 miles from here in Forest View. It's one of the most state-of-the-art recycling facilities in the United States. We also have a MSW waste transfer facility at that location, and we would be able to process all your waste at that facility. Up until about 7 months ago, I was part of Roy Strom, which was my family's waste business that we held for over 75 years. We collected the Village of Villa Park was one of those municipalities, and about 8 other municipal locations. After 75 years of that business, after much consideration, our family felt with the large consolidation within the waste industry that it would be very challenging for our business to continue to move forward as a small independently owned company. So when it was time to decide what business that we felt would be best to be acquired, we looked to LRS, because the fact that they are local, independent, and want to do good for their customers. The same thing that meant so much to me and my family when we talked about providing great quality service to our customers. So I would like the opportunity to give that same level of service and dedication and hard work to the residents of Darien. I personally have lived in Dupage County my whole life, and we would like to provide we provide service to dozens of local municipalities that all receive different levels of service, whether it be stickers, carts, backdoor service, electronic waste, household hazardous waste pickup, whatever you want, we can deliver. So thank you for your time. I would like you to please consider an RFP for waste services. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. It's good to be here tonight. I'm Katie Neri with LRS as well. I am the municipal manager. I would be overseeing Darien should you go out for bid and select LRS, which I hope that you do. So I've been front and center with LRS over the past couple of years, well actually the past 4 years, and part of transitioning over 30 communities locally, including the village of Lyle Township, and Wheaton as well, all locally in DuPage County. I would encourage you to reach out to them, and I do think that it would be worth your time to go out for bid, regardless of what you end up deciding. In this case, because of the size of Darien, I think that it's inevitable that Waste Management also has more room to move on their price. And given that it's public information, I think it would be very important and wise to go ahead and do that. So I would encourage you to do that, and that's pretty much it. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Good evening, City Council. My name is Kurt Mock. I'm the property manager for Glen Oaks Office Park, which is 6 buildings across from where the Darien Fest is going to be. Now, I know you're going to be talking about the Darien Fest earlier, but I just didn't know if this was the time to talk or if I should, bring it up later. But just might as well throw it out there now for you. We just found out about the Darien Fest location a few weeks ago. And we have 6 separate, building owners there, and they voted they do not want to have any parking on their property. So we're trying to make sure that we, can adhere to that so we don't have any property damage. It's a safety and liability and a possible damage to the property. I was talking to April Padlick and from the chamber, and she told me they would be able to give us some no parking signs to put up on our side of the street, but they wouldn't be able to. It's not in their budget to give us any kind of barricades to block off our entrances or do anything like that for us, and that would be totally up to us to do that and at our expenses. We have 160 parking spots, and if there's unsupervised, it's not supervised for anybody to park there. I mean, you could probably put about 200 cars in there. And that could be a total of 800 cars over the 4 days, which could be 2,000 or 3,000 people that could be on our property. And we have, several businesses there that have concerns about having that type of many people on our property for the whole weekend. I've dealt with this on another property that I manage in Lyle, which is next to where the Eyes of the Skies is. And during the times when we, that particular property ended up doing where they block it off the parking lot and they have people, pay to go in there. But that was their decision on that particular property. But on this property, they don't want to have that. And before we did that, and they had the unsupervised, we would come there every day, and there would be trash everywhere. Even if we had barricades up and nobody was there, there would be our lawn would be run over by cars who got blocked in, and then our bushes would be all, run over. I mean, it's just kind of a mess if it's unsupervised. And although Glen Oaks is our office building, it's also private property, and the use of the business of. And it's for the use of the business of the property and the visitors and clients and their patients. It's not for, Darien Fest to have their parking right across the street from what they're doing. What I'm here for is asking is what the Chamber of Commerce and what the city and the police department could do to help us to keep the people off of our property. Because again, this is just something that came up really quick on all of us, and we didn't know this was going to be happening across the street from us, and we haven't been able to prepare for it. I don't know. You probably haven't gone to discussing this, during your agenda item. But I just want to know what you can do for us during that time.
All right, Mayor, a quick question. What do you do now for unauthorized cars in the parking lot?
We don't have a towing service. We don't have a relocator, for our property because we've never really needed it. We've never had that kind of problem. So. And even if we did have a relocator, I mean, on a say a Saturday night or something like that, somebody would still have to be there to authorize somebody to tell the relocator towing company to come and do that. That would just mean still we would have to have somebody to do that. And by the time it would be called in, they could be busy on some other sites, and it could be 2 or 3 hours, and that same car could be gone. But I mean, if we get filled up, it's a problem.
Tonight, April is going to outline the parking plan for Darien Fest, which will take place all on the east side of Cass Avenue.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to stick around so you could hear that plan, I think that would bring some relief to your mind to know that there's a plan to offer parking for what she feels would be the people attending the fest on the east side.
Is there a reason why nobody in the surrounding areas was notified that this was going to happen?
Darien Fest. Darien Fest was something that I think April is in the last month. Why don't you come forward and explain? This is April Padlick. She's the Chamber of Commerce Executive Director.
Well, for 32 years, Darien Fest has been held at the Darien Community Park. That's
So
not.
can you pull the mic down a little? Sorry.
And due to the COVID restrictions we all experienced up until June, when we finally got to, I believe it was June in phase 5, we didn't know where, if we were having it or not. So that's why it's been kind of rushed. And Q-Bar is the facility that stepped up and offered to host. As far as parking goes, so far we have secured pretty much all the parking from the 7900 block, which is just north of Q-Bar, all the way south to First Merchants Bay. And our hope is with signage to encourage people to park in that area, because we don't want families crossing across Cass Avenue. As I explained to the gentleman that was speaking before me, all we can do to be a good neighbor is have signage made, something to the effect, no parking at this site, you know, could be towed, something along those lines to put a little bit of an intimidation factor out there. But other than that, that's all we can offer.
April, do you have any estimates, or maybe the mayor might, of how many people may have attended the Darien Fest in the past? And I'm just looking up because the gentleman mentioned eyes in the skies. I'm seeing reports of 50,000 to 150,000. We have never
had any.
Never have come close to that.
And I don't anticipate some of the crowds we used to get due to the fact that we don't have that many bands this time. Thursday night, it's a DJ only. It's a discounted night for Darien residents to go and partake at the carnival. Friday and Saturday, I believe there's just one band each night, and then Sunday we close at 8 o'clock. As far as parking or busyness, I anticipate it to be more during the evening hours and on the weekends when most of those type businesses are closed anyway. And
there's
as to
also
his
gonna
comment about barricades, if they want to barricade it with a vehicle or something, that's their choice, but you could hinder your response time for emergency vehicles, ambulance, fire, police, if they have to get into that location for some reason.
So you have West Suburban, the 7900 building, West Suburban parking, not Chuck's.
Not Chuck's, because they're open for business and they have an event.
Part of the Q-Bar parking lot.
And Chuck's was given the same response about a month ago when they inquired about what to do with the parking. I said, we'll post signs saying no fest parking here, subject to tow.
Isn't 7900 also on the west side of the street?
No,
From the
7955, I
building
think
down.
is the address.
Oh, 79, I thought you were talking about the old.
We're not encouraging any parking on the east side whatsoever, just out of safety for families trying to get across 4 lanes of traffic. And there's ample parking on the east side that could accommodate, plus public streets.
Okay. Any questions for April? Mary?
Have you talked to Concord School about utilizing their parking lot since that's within walking distance?
We're gonna contact them for a different reason.
And I know in years past with Darien Fest, especially if it was like there was an event going on at Hinsdale South and they like were using the parking lot or it was under construction or something, you guys had a shuttle like from Walmart or something in the past?
That was long before me,
Okay.
long before me.
That was many, many years ago. Ashton Place used to allow parking and then they would shuttle, but that hasn't been for over 10 years. April, why don't you
And to
take a few-
justify costs for that, because it's so sporadic.
April, why don't you take a few minutes and explain the schedule for the, I know you gave us some details. Give us some times and some of the things that are gonna take place, so.
So I'm doing this by memory unless you give me time to run upstairs and get a schedule. Thursday night, it opens officially at 5 p.m. in which a DJ will be playing from, I believe, thank you. Don't have my glasses. From about 5 to 10 o'clock, DJ and the carnival rides. That's pretty much it. Friday starts at 1 o'clock. Again, carnival rides and food and drink. Music doesn't start till later in the afternoon. I believe it's at 7. We have one individual at 7, and at 8 o'clock we have a band. Saturday, again, carnival, 1 o'clock. 1:30 to 2:30, the area swarm cheerleaders will be presenting. Then later, Fred Astaire Dance Studio. We have bingo on Saturday and Sunday from 2 to 4. And then a band in the evening again. Sunday we open at 1, again with the carnival and the food. Both Saturday and Sunday from 1 to 6 p.m. there will be a business expo there. Again, bingo 2 to 4, and then music from 4 till 7. and we'll end at 8 o'clock.
And I think what people need to understand is, we call it a corral, but in front of Q Bar, there is a fenced-in area. And he's gonna expand that a little bit to the north. And the food vendors and everything is gonna be in that corral area, as well as the sale and purchase and drinking of alcohol. It's all gonna take place within that corral. And then the carnival will be out towards Cass Avenue, and the expo, the business people will have their tents on the grassy area.
Along Cass Avenue.
Right.
And then there's a section of grass in the center that'll be kept open for people if they want to sit on blankets or bring lawn chairs and listen to music.
Then half of the parking lot, part of the parking lot to the south, will be available for parking as it is now with Cruising 66.
Yes.
And that's for the businesses that are.
For
in
the
center.
businesses, there'll be a sectioned off area that there's about 5 restaurants there so they can have their customers in and out.
Could you address the reason that all this planning's had to take place in the last month?
Well, primarily because of the restrictions we were under. We weren't sure at the beginning of summer whether or not Darien Fest would come about. And our focus with the location it's at now is to give those businesses along there more exposure and foot traffic.
Any questions for April? Any details? Lester?
They can't hear you at home. Your mic's not on.
My mic's on.
Yeah, I just got a text in your mic. They can't hear you. Oh, maybe they're wrong.
I don't know.
All right.
Pull your mask down, maybe, Joe, too.
And I don't know if they can hear me any better now. Okay. I'm sorry. I guess I asked my question, so I'm done. Anyone have a question for April?
I don't have a question for April, but I did speak during the workshop and when you weren't here, April, and you do yeoman's work, and I wouldn't want your job for all the tea in China. But to hear that, we knew about this maybe 6 weeks ago, month, but we didn't come here to the city council tonight. Now, granted, it's just for police, but I just felt that we should have had this conversation with the council right when it first happened, not a week before the event. And that's just me. And it's not about an ego trip that we didn't know about it. It's about making sure that we don't set some kind of precedence in the future. And that's the only thing. It's
Well,
great.
I'm going to throw it on COVID, so that's where I'll stand with it. I mean, I've planned these before and we've had ample time, but this is one of those things. Between that, I'm also planning with the city for our 9/11 events and some other things that are coming up. So there's a lot going on, and
I get it, but I think something was missed in this process. And like I said,
as far as littering goes, yes, there's a potential that we will have ample refuse containers all over, and every day at the close of day, we will go back and police the area because that's what we do now with the Darien car show.
Lester?
I think I think some of the residents has a strong concern about property damage. In your years of experience of the Darien Fest, I mean, what has your experience been when it comes to like property damage?
This
as
will
they
be the
mentioned?
third Darien Fest that I've been here for. The two previous, the only complaint we ever had was with the Park District claiming that a vendor damaged one of their pathways with a truck.
Thank you.
So to piggyback on Lester's question, I mean, obviously Darien Community Park is in a residential area, but there's businesses, from the gas station to the library to, eateries and different things around there. There was never any issues with any of those businesses or the personal property of homes around the park?
Not to my knowledge. Chief, did you ever receive anything to your knowledge?
Not that I know of.
Okay. And I guess Mayor Marquez, I should say, mentioned, I don't know if you mentioned it at our prior meeting, admin finance or in pre-council, that you're going to be looking for volunteers to help with some of this. But if you're not able to get ample volunteers for trash cleanup or, security that wouldn't fall on the police's hands, are you prepared to hire people to do that for you?
We have a board of directors that are our main volunteers, and then we rely on some of the not-for-profit organizations. and the police also.
So you're going to be working with Lions Club, Women's Club, Rotary, all of them to get
Not Rotary, but yes. the
to get
other
foot
two.
soldiers to help.
Can we say,
Tom?
can we ask questions too, or are we?
I'd like to tell the council people first.
No, I just want to say thank you for putting it together so quickly. I know there's a lot of residents looking forward to it. I think, we've had Darien Fest for many, many years. There's residents across the street from the Park District that look forward to it, that haven't complained in years. I think maybe some of the concern is that maybe it hasn't been there. And that's why some of these are coming up. But when I look at the past history of Darien Fest, we've had it for 20-some, 30 years. And most of it's been very, very positive. So, especially even in the park where we had it, we have residents across the street that were fine. And there's no matter what you have, you're always going to have some litter, some of this, and it just comes with the territory. But ultimately, it brings maybe people looking for a place to live, get out, especially with COVID, maybe a little bit, showcase our businesses as well. So no, I think it's good. I mean, the only other option, I don't know, I don't think it's doable, but Westmont did manage to close Cass, but I think we're too close to I-55 to be able to block that street completely down. Because I was at the festival at Westmont a few weeks ago, and they managed to close Cass, but I think they're further out where we're too close to the highway to even.
The difference in Westmont is actually Westmont owns that stretch of Cass. They're allowed to close that. Some roads go in and out, they're municipal, maybe state, but the downtown area of Cass is actually owned and maintained and regulated by Westmont, that
okay.
stretch, right, Mayor? I think
Correct.
you mentioned that too.
Oh, right. That explains it. Perfect.
April, can you explain why there's a venue change, a location change, I should say?
Primarily with the Darien Park District, they feel that this type of venue is not what they think would work in their park. We've tried to negotiate different locations within the Park District, and they just don't want any part of it.
Thank you.
Anything else? All right, we have a resident who wants to ask a question. Regarding Darien Fest?
Yeah, come to the mic.
Up to the microphone.
Come on up to the microphone so we can hear you.
Good evening. My name is Arlene Sturgeon. I live in Darien. Our concerns, we live right across the street from LeCue and where this event is going to be held. Our concerns is basically what's going on right now with LeCue, the music, and the amount of people that are there right now. I can't imagine with the carnival how many more people are going to be attending this, in which basically they do park across the street from where we live. We're right close towards the end of the street. The music, the people are there. We see fights. There was a car, we have it on video, in where there was a fight that occurred, and somebody was trying to stop the fight and pulled their car into the grass area and spun around. And I mean, we're seeing this. So my concern is people are not going to want to walk to the school, to walk to the carnival. They're going to park across the street. They're going to be stepping on my lawn. They're going to be ruining my lawn. They're going to be puking and peeing on my street. I don't want that. So my question to you is, are there going to be police there to secure the area where our streets are going to be? Because I don't have a fenced-in yard either. And with the gentleman who was just talking about his businesses, they will come across from that business and come to our backyard and sit on our lawn chairs if they wanted to, if they're intoxicated enough. I mean, and two, I mean, they're going to be in and out of our street. I mean, are we going to have blockades there, for just the local residents, where everybody else knows to park somewhere else? These are my concerns as a citizen. And then two, in regards to litter, am I responsible for picking up the trash that is not collected by the city after the event? So those are my questions.
Is this the time to keep talking?
Sure.
Okay.
3 minutes, just remember 3 minutes.
Okay. Hi, my name is Karen Rooney. I manage the Burr Ridge Veterinary Clinic, and we are literally across the street. Unlike the other business park, we're across the street, okay? We love our location. We love being in Darien. We've been here over 12 years, and everybody has been helpful and friendly and great. Our hours of operation are some of the same as the fest, okay? My concern is somewhat in the evening about people parking in our lot. We've already had tornado damage, and I'm just picturing what's going to happen now, people coming in and out. But my main concern is during our business hours. And I also agree with the woman who said, you know, I feel Cass should be closed personally, but if you close Cass, I'm up a creek. We have clients that are booking out appointments are a month from now. If you want an appointment to see us, it's a month from now. If I have to close for 2 or 3 days, these people are not going to be happy because they made their appointment a month prior. Who's going to clean up the debris? April said signage, that's great. Barricades, so I guess I can rent or buy, or we can put up little tin cans or something, but I think people that are coming to a thing like this, they're going to move the barricades, and they're just going to come in anyway. That's another concern. If there's damage to my property, do I file for insurance? Does somebody else pay for it? And my concern was, if it's been at the Darien Park for a couple, like all these years that I've known Darien Fest, it's been at the park, kind of concerns me why all of a sudden they decided they don't want it there anymore. Makes me think there's something funky. I mean, I don't know if it's rumors. I don't live in Darien. I just heard that the park district is owed money for repairs to stuff. The last one was 2 years ago. That's not true? Okay, because people are saying that, so you need to get word out there that that's not true then, because I've heard it from multiple sources.
There was, April recounted that, there was a pathway, some
Okay.
of the paths you're familiar with, the community park. One of the vendors had a truck that came up to deliver goods and left, and the park district claimed that that truck did damage to one of their paths, and the Chamber of Commerce has reimbursed the park district for that.
Okay.
And then this year, the park district did all new paths throughout the entire park. But that is not the reason. That is an old, 2-year-old incident that was settled 2 years ago.
Great, that's wonderful to know. I'm glad you cleared that up. I really appreciate that. But when we were in Darien, Clarendon Hills Road was closed. I understand not closing Cass. I need it open for my business. It said we're working the same hours the fest is for some of them. I'm picturing no matter what you try to do, there's going to be people crossing Cass, and somebody's going to get hurt. I mean, we see accidents out there as it is now. I know it's hard to get out of our business sometimes, but that's our main concern, and I'm speaking somewhat for the building just north of us, the University Dermatology. They don't want people there either. We each have 25 to 30 spots, depending on how tight you park, and I have not had any problem with any of the events at Q. Like the other people were saying, as far as I know, nobody's parked or done any damage to either one of our businesses during that time. So that's okay. My concern is just how many people are really going to be at this event. I don't want to be the grandpa who complains about the kid throwing the ball in the yard, but I also have some legit concerns, I think. Okay, so thank you very much.
I think weather and the quality of the music is going to determine the people that are going to be there. We're not going to close Cass Avenue. You wouldn't believe the process that the Lions Club has to go through to close Cass Avenue for the 4th of July parade, to the point where they're not going to start the 4th of July parade at the Jewel anymore. They're going to actually start it over by the Swim and Racket Club and proceed down 71st Street because it's just too complicated. Like Brian said, Westmont owns from 55th Street to Ogden Avenue on Cass, so they can close it down for a fest. We have no intention of closing it down. For the 30-plus years that Darien Fest was at the community park, half of Clarendon Hills Road was closed down. The people who lived on Clarendon Hills Road had carnival rides right in front of their house and half of the street to deal with. People on 71st Street at the other end of the park had to deal with the traffic going in and out of the parking lot there by the little children's playground. I can tell you, I mean, I've been in Darien almost 40-something years. We have not had issues with vandalism. What we have done in the past is we used to have meetings with the residents who lived in that area prior to the event, and we would tell them what was going to be going on. We'd ask for their input. In the past, I think you guys gave them free tickets for carnival rides, things like that. April?
Mayor, if you'd please let people know you're talking about the homes that were interrupted along Clarendon Hills Road at 71st.
Yeah.
Because you had to shut down streets.
Yeah, we shut down the street.
Position on their behalf.
But The Chamber of Commerce has several people in there that they have a gentleman who has a cleaning service. They actually went around and they cleaned that whole park. The Park District people have told the Chamber that they actually left the park in excellent condition. So I know your concerns, and I think there's a legitimate sensitivity to how this is going to impact your property. I think that it's good to be alert to that, but I think that I think you're going to find that everything's probably going to stay on the east side. We don't want people crossing Cass Avenue either. April doesn't, the city doesn't. I think the other thing to remember, and people ask, what's the city going to do? Darien Fest is a Chamber of Commerce event. It is not a City of Darien event. And we don't tell the Park District what to offer. We don't tell the Chamber what to offer. We provide the services. And when we have to shut down streets, they have to seek permission to shut down streets. This carnival, this fest, is not on city property. So the only thing they're asking for the city is to provide the police protection. But we have a great police force, and I'm sure they're going to be out there making sure that nobody's across the street damaging your property. And as far as the woman who lives across the street, we hope the same thing occurs. I don't think you want to block off Iroquois at Cass, because then people can't get in and out of their subdivision unless they go around to Adams and they go out the other way. But I don't think you want that to happen either.
Are they going to be putting no parking signs along Iroquois?
They're going to put no parking. Did we discuss Iroquois? You're going to put well, Iroquois is a private street.
Right.
No?
It's a public street.
Public street. It's a public street,
So
which means people can park on Iroquois. We're hoping they park where you want them to park, but
what I'm saying is, can you put no parking signs down?
I
Because
don't have the authority to shut down your streets. And
you're not.
and also, if a car is legally parked or licensed, there's not a lot you can do.
Well, Downers Grove, there's streets around Grove Fest. The Rotary Club goes ahead and they put no parking signs all along those streets. So I'm just asking the question: is it a possibility? Because if there's no car, if there's no cars on they're parked on Sleepy Hollow and Iroquois, then that's going to cut down as much traffic on the west side as what you want. You'll drive that traffic to the east side of Cass. That's what I'm just thinking. That's all.
Mike?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. What I'm hearing, and my frustration is, being one of those property owners that Mr. Mack was just addressing, what I'm hearing from Ms. Padalecki, though, is that, yeah, the Chamber's running this. We've never had a problem before, and we're going to clean up Q-Bar. But if there is something to be concerned about for either these residents or our office buildings, I have heard no commitment at all from their standpoint that, yeah, we'll clean up our mess.
That commitment was given to the people who called me. I received a phone call from...
April, you have to come up to the mic, otherwise they can't hear you at home. Sorry.
I apologize. That commitment was given to two people that called me in the office, that we will police that entire area just like we do for every other event. Not only do we have a contract with a cleanup crew, but I myself walk every ground before we vacate.
Okay. Anything else?
My name is Richard Mikes. I live on Hinswood Drive, immediately next to the bank where you're going to be ending your parking area. We get a lot of foreign people, and I mean people who don't belong in our subdivision, parking in our parking lot all the time for various reasons: drinking, drug dealing, sex. All this kind of stuff goes on. I'd like to see that if you're going to include signs for no parking, that you include Hinswood Drive on this. We got kids around there going all the time. I also am concerned overwide about the safety on having this event on Cass Avenue in the back. You cannot close Cass Avenue like you said, and that's a very major artery. On the same weekend that you're having this, the Hinswood subdivision is having an anniversary party for being around for 50 years. We have our own parking next to our clubhouse and pool, which is going to be used that time. So that's going to be jeopardized by this event. And also, I think that's it. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'm a little nervous. I'm I'm Michaela Moore, and I'm a mother who lives in close proximity to Q-Bar. I'm here to ask for your help regarding the noise levels emitted from Q-Bar and the permit associated with it. The excessive noise shakes our home, including furniture at all hours of the night, to the point that decor falls off of our walls. We have the right to a peaceful existence. You are infringing on our emotional and physical welfare by choosing big business over the children and their rights. If the permit, which ties the police's hands, continues, our neighborhood children will get 6 hours of sleep if the sound stops at 11. SleepFoundation.org recommends school-age children preschool to 12th grade need 9 to 13 hours of sleep. ILGA.gov, Environmental Protection Act, Illinois Statutes, Chapter 111, Section 24, no person shall emit beyond the boundaries of his property any noise that interferes with the enjoyment of life or any lawful business or activity. I've repeatedly tried to resolve this issue with Q-Bar to no avail. School is starting, and I'm requesting a review and cancellation of Q-Bar's permit for noise pollution. On behalf of the residents, but most importantly, the children, if this was a one-time thing granted because of the pandemic, then we need to move forward now that inside of bars and restaurants are open. We need to make our kids' rights to an education a priority, since kids cannot get a proper education while falling asleep in class, which I've got to say my son has done multiple times, and he told the school counselor that it's because his bed shakes at night. I have faith that you'll do the right thing and put children in front of big business. I'm really grateful for your guys' time, and I'm just begging that you guys take into consideration what I'm saying. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm a resident of Darien. I have lived in Darien for about 36 years. And you talk about Iroquois. I own 3 homes in Iroquois. And they probably would have been here if they would have known, or that we didn't have no announcement that it was going to be, heard about this event that you're going to have. You're going that where they're going to put it's such a small place, and a carnival, and they hardly have any parking space. I'm the second house from Cass in Iroquois, and I have, like I said, 3 other homes in Iroquois. Where are you gonna park? And the noise. You ever go over there on a Friday or Saturday? Just go out there once in a while, and you hear the noise. Go there around 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, and then you hear the noise. And you're gonna bring more people there in that little shopping center? I don't know. Like I said, I'm a citizen of Darien, and that place is just too small for that event that you're going to have. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else?
Hello, my name is Samantha. I've lived in Darien for just over 1 year. I also live on Iroquois Lane. I am a cardiac surgery nurse at Northwestern Hospital in Chicago. I moved to Darien so that I could enjoy a quiet small town but still keep my job as a nurse at Northwestern. So far, I've loved living in Darien. I love my neighborhood and my neighbors, the community here, and so many of the local businesses. We have a lovely home and backyard. Living in Darien has been overall great, but there's one issue that's had a significant negative impact on my quality of life and has severely limited the quiet enjoyment of my own home and backyard. And I'd like to bring this issue to the City Council's attention tonight. I live down the street from Q-Bar off of Cass Avenue. The outdoor, excessively loud music played many days and nights at Q-Bar is disrupting our quality of life. The music is so loud that we're not able to be in our own yard or have the windows of our house open whenever music is playing. And even with the windows closed, the music is loud enough to be heard throughout our entire house. If this disruption only occurred occasionally, we would be able to tolerate it. Unfortunately, the music at Q Bar is not played occasionally. It's played many days and nights each week, weekdays, weekends, afternoons, evenings, and late into the night, sometimes all day and into the late hours of the night, multiple nights a week. As I stated earlier, I'm a nurse. I frequently work back-to-back 14-hour days, and I get up at 4:30 in the morning, very often on weekends, to go to work. Every week, at least once or twice, if not all 3 days that I work, I'm deprived of sleep due to the excessively loud music coming from the Q Bar parking lot. On multiple occasions, I've been kept awake so late that I've been unable to go to work, needing to call in sick, because I can't function as a cardiac surgery nurse without enough sleep. The frequent loud music played from the Q Bar parking lot has disrupted my quality of life, the enjoyment of my home and my yard, and my ability to sleep and go to work many times. I also know that I'm not alone in this. Many of my neighbors and community members are frustrated and angry over this constant disruption and excessive noise. I love living here and I want to continue to live in Darien. But I need, and I know that my neighbors need, the city council to act on these concerns regarding the outdoor music that is played at Q Bar so often. So I'm asking you, the city council, to please act on behalf of the members of this town, the families living here, and all of the people that have chosen Darien, because it actually really is a nice place to live. We deserve to be able to sleep at night and enjoy our homes and our yards, and the frequent and excessively loud music doesn't allow us to do so. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Just so people understand and the council understands that we are sensitive to what you're experiencing. A week ago Friday, I called Mr. Bob Taft, the owner of Q Bar and of the shopping center, and I asked Bob to come in and meet with myself, Chief of Police Greg Thomas, and Mr. Vanna. We sat probably for a couple hours, and I told him we need to lay out exactly what you have going on. Number one, we need to be able to tell our police when something is out of order. So we need to give them a document that explains when you're going to have music, the type of music you're going to have, when it starts, when it ends. Now, he explained that he's owned Q Bar for 17 years. Q Bar's been open a lot longer than that, but he's been the owner for 17 years. He said he's always had indoor music. Last summer, when we were experiencing COVID, I gave permission to all of our restaurants to have an outdoor eating area. They built a patio over at Carriage Greens. Zazzo's had an outdoor eating area. Patio Restaurant had an outdoor eating area, as did Q Bar. And we allowed music for several of them. Carriage Greens had music, Zazzo's had music, and so on. So Mr. Taft has had music indoor for 17 years. Now, I asked him, what do you have? What is your regular schedule? And he says Thursday nights, he has music provided by a DJ. This is indoor, okay? Friday nights, music provided by a DJ or a band. Saturday nights, music provided by a band. And Sunday afternoon and evening, he had a youth-oriented band. He basically said that his plans for outdoor entertainment over the remainder of the summer will only go on for about 5 more weeks, which will include the Darien Fest, falls within that. He said he has no plans for outdoor music after that 5 to 6 week period. In fact, he sent me another email today after we wrote this document up, saying that he probably will be done with all outdoor music probably by September 11th.
So why do we have to go 6
Can
more
I
weeks,
finish,
with all due respect?
please? I asked him, what are you going to have and what times are you going to have those? And he said, Monday nights, you're going to have the car show. There's going to be a DJ there. And I think the car show, April, is going to end probably...
Usually ends by 8:30.
No. When there's...
Oh, I'm sorry. It goes through the end of August and sometimes September, depending on weather.
Okay. Thursday nights, music is provided by a DJ, and the hours for that will be 7 to 10 p.m., not later than that. Friday nights, music is provided by an acoustic guitar player, sometimes a band, and that will go from 7 to 10:30 p.m. Saturday nights, music is provided by a band, and that's going to go from 7 to 10:30 p.m. And Sunday nights, an acoustic guitar or a band from 4 to 7 p.m. And he told me today, between now and the end of the season, over the next 5 to 6 weeks, he's going to cancel 2 of those Sunday nights, which means it's not going to take place. He said all outdoor entertainers, bands, and DJs are oriented towards the building and away from Cass Avenue. He has set sound deadening backdrops that he uses in order to further prohibit sound from traveling back towards Cass Avenue. We looked at that and we said, 5 more weeks, and that's it. Now, next year, he's looking to build an outdoor area. Right now, he's got what looks like corral fencing, and he wants to add something to that building, more permanent structure. But as far as outdoor music, he's really looking no more than 5 weeks. He will continue to have indoor music, and I realize there's also concern with regard to the indoor music. And we explained to him that people state that the bass that they sometimes have in the indoor music bothers the residents who live to the back or maybe live across the street. So we asked him to be sensitive to that, and that when they have a band set up, that they have somebody who actually go out to Cass Avenue to see how it sounds right there at Cass Avenue. So I want you to know, we gave a copy of this to him. The chief of police has a copy of this. The chief is going to have his officers enforce the ordinance based on this. In other words, if he says he's doing music 4 to 7 on a Sunday night, and it's 8 or 9 o'clock, and he's got music, that's a violation. If he goes beyond 10:30 at night, that's a violation. We wanted it on paper so that we could tell you, the residents, we wanted some memo of understanding so we knew what was going to happen. We knew how we could rectify this matter. Now, we're not going to eliminate all the sound. Last night, I left a concert in the park at Community Park that was attended by about 350 people. And I drove down Plainfield Road, and it was a little after 8, and I drove down Cass. And I turned on Iroquois, and I stopped at the first or second house on Iroquois, and I opened up the windows of my car, and I heard nothing. I didn't even hear noisy noise coming from the parking lot at Q-Bar. I drove down to Adams, turned around, came back, made a right-hand turn, and turned into the parking lot at Q-Bar, went right in front of Q-Bar, and I didn't hear anything. I didn't hear even noise coming from the inside. And that was last evening, about 8:30, 8:45. Now, I realize he says Sunday evenings he's done at 7 o'clock, but I was concerned about noise that might be coming from the inside of Q-Bar. I want you to know I'm sensitive to this. We had this meeting with him because we are sensitive to it. And we want to make sure that you at least have a timeline in your mind that you know after the beginning of September, the outdoor music is done. It's going to be over with. And the only music that you're going to have is the indoor. And we will work with him to make sure that that's monitored so that bass does not bother people. And what he says is he had the air conditioning broken down or something, and they had the back door, delivery door open. And he says quite possibly people who lived in back of Q-Bar were hearing that bass through that open door. And he apologized for that. But we will be monitoring the situation, and I want people to be aware of it. And he sat with us how long, Brian? A couple hours. And Chief of Police Thomas has a copy of this, and Craig gave this out to his officers, and they are going to be enforcing the music situation at Q-Bar based on this agreement with Mr. Taft. Yes, ma'am.
For children, for little kids that need to get up, let's say for example.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Okay. So 10:30. For example, I have a 5-year-old who's in hockey. He was doing hockey Saturday mornings, and he was supposed to be in there by 7:45. 10:30 is too late for him to go to bed and get up and be able to do hockey. We actually had to pull him from hockey because he was too tired to be able to do hockey practice. For Sunday school, my kids go to Sunday school in the mornings. To do the early, Sunday schools for them, to do our service that we like to do early in the morning, our kids are having to go to bed at 10:30 at night now. We have to be at the mercy of them to turn down the bass. You may not have been able to hear it. And I know that there's been times where I've stood outside and I could not hear the music myself. But if you go inside my house, in the middle of my house, my toilet bowl is shaking and my daughter thought there was monsters in it because that's how bad my walls and my whole house shakes. I'm literally the first house across the street, just to give you an idea. So I understand the sound outside is not as severe, it's the bass. And when I call and ask them nicely, if you could just turn the bass down, it's not the music. We can't hear the music in our house 90% of the time. It's the bass. They turn it up. So I have a hard time believing that he's sympathetic of our situation when, I'm not saying it's him, the employees obviously, but it is an ongoing issue. So we have to wait until 10:30 for our children to be able to go to bed. Is that what you're telling the residents that live here? Is that 10:30?
I'm saying after the first week in September, around September
So for the
11th, there's going to be no outdoor music.
So for 5 weeks, we have to tell our children, I'm sorry, you can't go to bed at a decent hour because
I'm not
our
I'm
city
not telling you to say
is
that. I'm not.
allowing it. Okay.
I'm trying to give you a framework that we developed
Mm-hmm.
so that at least you understand that this is going to come to an end.
In 5 weeks, and I still have to have my kids not be able to do sports or Sunday school. You're failing our kids, sir. Thank you.
Bob?
Just a quick comment. I used to do sound engineering. I used to do stuff for cars. And one thing I didn't hear though, does the police have a sound meter? They're $20 on Amazon, because I can get 10 people and everyone will give you 10 different opinions on sound. And honestly, if you put a sound meter out there for the police department, they take a reading at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. It eliminates all opinions and you have facts, right? It's like getting a speeding ticket. You know exactly how fast to go. And it's $21 on Amazon for a decibel reader. So I don't know if you can buy one for the police department to
You know,
measure
just
that.
so people understand, regardless of the neighborhood you live in, Alderwoman Sullivan and I live in close proximity probably to I-55. And I could sit on my back deck and it sounds like the Santa Fe Speedway, just hearing I-55. I also have an airfield behind my house. And during the summer, at all times of the day, I have planes landing and taking off, and I'm dealing with that sound. I moved into that house knowing that. So I acknowledge the fact that I'm going to have to live with that and be happy with that. And want to be quite honest, one night, sitting on the deck with my fire pit going and my wife and I enjoying a glass of wine, it was like the Santa Fe Speedway was in my backyard. And yet, I chose to live in that house, and so I accept that. And I'm not saying you have to accept the sound. I know that you're bothered by it. I know your children. I'm a retired educator too, so I know how important it is for children at the elementary level to get their proper sleep.
We moved in knowing that there's an Illinois state law stating that they cannot emit noise to that extent. So we moved in thinking that we would be protected, our rights would be protected, and that the city wouldn't overrule a state, ordinance. And I also have lived at an Air Force base. I've lived at an Army base right next to an artillery range. So I do too understand getting that. That was not near as bad as this situation that I have right now. Thank you.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry.
Just come on up to the microphone again, so we have your name.
You said that Q-Bar is going to they have a corral back there and they're going to build something there.
It will be enclosed more.
It's going to, okay, but even though it's enclosed, it's still open, correct?
No. He wants to build something that's more permanent.
Oh, okay.
With
So
a
it's
brick
gonna-
wall and things like that.
Oh, okay. So it's going to be enclosed, you said,
Yeah,
right?
we haven't seen his plans. He probably won't come to us for a while to
Okay.
show us those plans, but he's expressed that on several occasions to us.
Okay, and the only reason why I ask again is because, and I understand what you're saying, that's where, in regards to where you decided to live. When we moved to Darien, my father and myself and my family, it wasn't like that. I mean, Cass Avenue was very quiet. It was a very nice, quiet neighborhood across the street. It was never that way. It was, there was more family-oriented business, the video store, what have you. So it was very, Ripples was right there. So we never had this experience. So that's why we're kind of upset. So we thank you.
And I appreciate that.
We thank you for
I
listening
do.
to us. Thank you.
Anything else? All right, we'll move on then to approval of our minutes. I'd like a motion to approve the minutes of July 19th, 2021. Moved by Alderwoman Sullivan, seconded by Alderman Kenny. Any questions or comments? And the roll?
Sullivan,
Aye.
Kenny,
Aye.
Clistic,
Aye.
Shower,
Aye.
Vaughn,
Aye.
5 ayes and 2 absent.
The minutes have been approved. Receiving of communications. Do any of the aldermen have communications to share with the council? Alderwoman Sullivan.
Thank you, Mayor. I did receive a communication from a resident of mine named Kelly Glisson. I think some of the other aldermen received it again. In summary, he is asking that as it relates to our refuse system, that the the key concept of bid process is cost of quality. So he's urging us to please go out for bid with the refuse system, and full disclosure to the residents, and get some competitive bids and different options available to the residents as well.
Thank you, Mary. Alderman Kenny.
As Alderwoman Sullivan mentioned, Kelly Gleason had sent me an email as well, and I've also got 2 other communications on the exact same topic. I got a communication from Tim Wise on Exner Road, requesting that the city put out an RFP for the garbage contract and to keep the sticker program. Also, I got the same communication from Jim Drews on 77th Street in Darien, along with a question how this would be. He wants the RFP and he wants to keep his stickers, and he's asking the question how it would be billed. But I guess that would depend on what the RFP came back in. Correct?
How it would be billed?
How it would be billed, right?
Typically on probably any company would be similar to what it is done now.
Well, there's some. I guess there's some communities that the city puts it to the tax bill, and then there's other bills. So I guess he just want to know in detail how that would be paid out.
Well, because ours is not on the tax bill.
Right.
There are some situations where a company might bill the city pays, and then the city has to worry about collecting. Anything we've talked about so far would be just a direct billing, possibly quarterly. I think that's what a lot of the garbage companies do every couple months. So it'd be something like that, but we would want to set it up as directly billed with whatever company would provide the service.
And I guess the only other question I'm going to ask, that he had mentioned during my communication with him this morning, was that he's a snowbird. So 6 months out of the year, he's not using it. So do we know if those contracts with the vendors would allow, short-term contracts or no?
No, I don't believe the current proposal has that, and we would have to address that in our RFP.
Okay.
To determine if that would, for those residents that would not receive the service, would pay the fixed fee. Again, like our water system is a similar example. We have a fixed fee, whether you use the water or not, because you're still paying for the whole system, the maintenance. So we don't know at this point, Joe.
Right. Okay. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Anyone else? Alderman Clistek.
Thank you, Mayor. I received a few pieces of communication. First one, I received a phone call from Alderman Gustafson. He couldn't make it, but he would request a RFP if he was here, so he wanted that mentioned. Same as Alderman Kennedy, Mr. Wozniak reached out, wanted to make sure that he wants a sticker. Keep it the same. Within my ward, I sent out a survey to get feedback from my residents. Most of the feedback I received from Kathy Mackel, Arrow Lane, her concern is not having different sizes. They would compromise, saying, okay, we understand the advantages maybe for some of the businesses going away from the stickers and doing as a service, but then you have this 96-gallon jug that no one can deal with it. So that came back from every survey I received. 5 residents, Kathy Mackel, Shiram Kripa, Jerry Legansky, Karen Pravisky, and Steve Leopoldo. Also the same things. They want to see different container size and an opportunity to go out for bid so that it's more competitive.
Anything else?
Tom, I'm sorry, one follow-up question. The people that commented, because this came up fairly fast, are they aware that it would be unlimited under what we currently are talking about? Do you know
Yes.
by chance?
Yeah, so I sent them the link to our webpage.
Oh, okay,
and,
thanks.
and said they're unlimited. And so one of the concerns that came up repeatedly is that they don't have the size. So 96 gallon seems to be pretty big. So we went from just having a sticker and people occasionally using it to everyone's getting this big 96 gallon and all this service. And they like the additional big item pickup. I think that was a plus that was put in there. But the biggest concern coming back was just the sizes. They just can't fit it in. And then the size that we have, I think in Lester's ward, the container that we have to put, hide our garbage in will not fit a 96 gallon. It'll only fit like a 70 gallon. So they're wondering why we're quoting a 96 gallon when most residents couldn't even fit into a container that we requested them to buy. So that's all I have.
Just for clarification, we do have residents that purchase the containers and the bins do fit. So I'm not, if they want to call or check with Dan, but we specifically sized it for the 96, Dan?
That is correct. That is correct. There's two different sizes for the containers. The one is the 95 gallon and the 65. So there are products out there that will house that type of, those types of carts.
Gotcha. Okay. I mean, at the end of the day, they're looking at just different sizes and different options versus just the one size fits all.
Anything else? Mary?
Yeah, one last thing. Resident Tammy Hollandonner reached out, just wondering if something can be done, since we're talking about garbage, and we obviously in the last few months have talked about people putting their garbage storage areas not in front of their house. She is seeing a lot of people in her neighborhood putting backyard items in their front yard, and was wondering if anything can be done, since there's a pretty straight policy on putting your garbage cans away, putting other things that don't belong in the front yard, putting them in the backyard.
And just to clarify that, I believe all the elected officials had received that correspondence in regards to it's play equipment, whether it's a sandbox, whether it's a trampoline. The city does not have any codes against that. If there are concerns from residents, I've put something back out there that asks those residents to give us a call, and we will either speak with those residents or provide them a courtesy letter, not to leave it out there all year long. So again, they're more than welcome to call us. Again, some people don't have very large yards. Some people like to sit out in front. So really, there's nothing out there that says they cannot do that.
And if residents push to have something put out there, that would have to be like go through planning and zoning kind of thing, or?
If it's a permanent structure, the answer is yes, but the city does not have anything on its books or within its codes, whether it's a property maintenance code and or ordinances regarding play sets. If you put a play set out there and it's encased in concrete or some footings that go into the ground, that's considered a permanent structure. But a trampoline, for example, we've seen trampoline, and residents have had some trampolines, little pools, baby pools.
Bouncy houses sometimes.
There you go. So things like that. There is nothing that we can really do. We will send out a courtesy letter or speak with the residents. That's the extent. Unless the city council wants to pursue it from a different, from an ordinance or property maintenance code, that's something that the mayor would have to direct back to the one of the municipal services committee.
Thank you.
Alderman Vaughn?
I'm glad you brought the courtesy letter up. I believe Dan replied to Hollander. Did the courtesy letter go out for this particular issue?
I don't recall that being a direction. I think we just responded directly to her via email.
Yeah, it was a question whether they wanted us to respond back to the resident, and they never responded. The resident never responded back to suggest that.
Thank you.
Anything else? Okay, that takes us to the mayor's report. I have a few things. As most of you know, every Monday morning I have a meeting with the Dupage County Health Department regarding updates regarding COVID-19. I had that meeting this morning. There's a few things I'd like to share with you. There is a growing concern with regard to the Delta variant. There's some data here that you should be aware of. The community transmission rate has moved from low to moderate to substantial over the last 4 weeks in Dupage County. Despite moving in this direction, fully vaccinated residents account for 1.1% of COVID patients, and of these, 90% occurred in individuals who were immune compromised. So of the people who are being diagnosed with COVID, 1.1% were people who were fully vaccinated, but they were people who had immune deficiencies. Over 80% of the population of Dupage County over 12 years of age have received at least one dose of the vaccine, and 59% were fully vaccinated. 82% of residents 65 and older, and 23.6% in school-aged children 5 to 17. Dupage County ranks number 1 in the state with respect to the percentage of its residents who are vaccinated, and it ranks in the top 6% of all counties nationally. And of course, Dupage County Health Department says that vaccinations have been identified as offering the greatest protection from severe illness or death. In addition to that, I received the following email from Mrs. Gomopoulos. You may remember her son Nikos was mayor for the day a couple weeks ago. She writes, "Thank you so much, Mayor Marquez. This was such a wonderful experience for Nikos. We really appreciate all your time and kindness. He will always remember that day and everything he learned. Everyone he met left such a wonderful impression on him, and he was so happy. We really are grateful for everyone's patience and willingness to allow him to be there. Darien really is a special place with great people, and thank you again." In addition to that, I wanted to update you on our 9/11 weekend, and I'm not going to let this go. I want to really publicize this. We're going to have posters that are going to come out. The whole month of September is going to be dedicated to the theme Darien Remembers 9/11. This is the 20th anniversary of the 9/11 event, and we have a whole month with activities within that month that we're planning. Number one, we're going to have a proclamation read at the beginning of September, noting that September is hereby Darien Remembers 9/11. Secondly, we're going to have banners on our streetlights, which are going to commemorate the 9/11 event. We're going to have medallions, and I have medallions that are made, and I'm going to give 2 of them this over here to Mr. Vanna to give to Mary and to Tom, and then I have 4 of them. These were designed by children in our school, and we had these made based on the school design. We had every school sit on a committee. I had Lakeview Junior High, I had District 61, District 63, all the schools, Hinsdale South, Downers Grove South, they all participated in this event. And the children from those schools will all be participating in events throughout the month of 9/11. On Saturday, on Friday, September 10th, we will have 6 flags erected in the Darien Community Park outside the South Pavilion. Each flag will have a plaque at the bottom of it, which will give you the story of an individual who died in 9/11. Those 6 people are from Darien, Connecticut, not Darien, Illinois. And we found out about this, and we thought it'd be a nice tribute to these people to have a flag with a plaque at the bottom of that flag. And I called she's not called the mayor, she's called the first selectman. Her name is Jamie Stevenson, and she's the mayor of Darien, Connecticut. And she's going to fly into the Chicagoland area, and she's going to join us on Friday, September 10th, to see these flags and to see these plaques. As she told me, a lot of these people were her personal friends. On Saturday morning, September 11th, at 9:30 in the morning, we will have a parade. It's a first responders parade. We have about 30 entries, fire departments, police departments, and a few politicians. And I believe April, it's the Emerald Society of Chicago bagpipe crew. And they will start over on Beech Nut, turn the corner, go down 71st Street, go to Clarendon Hills Road, and go to end at Hinsdale South. Saturday afternoon, September 11th, we will have a community picnic at the community park. Those flags will be up. We have probably about 300 to 400 student murals, posters that will be in one mosaic. It's going to be about 20 feet long by 8 feet high of all the work of Darien Remembers. Each of these kids did something called Darien Remembers. We will also have several other activities, and we're going to have several of the students singing that afternoon. Sunday morning, we're going to have a group of students from the school sing the national anthem, and we're going to have our Darien Dash, which is going to start, and tell me if I'm wrong, April, from the Darien Swim and Recreation Club, and it'll also end there. On Sunday afternoon, we're going to have a concert at Carriage Greens Country Club. And again, the children will be singing, and then we're going to have a group, I think, what do they call, the 144th Brigade. They're going to be playing patriotic music. That's that weekend.
Army National Guard.
Pardon me?
It's the 144th Army National Guard Band.
144th National Guard Band. Friday night, the 17th of September, there's a football game between Hinsdale South and Hinsdale Central. Tri-State Fire Department's going to come out, and they're going to raise their ladders and hang the American flag from their ladder. And we're going to have a patriotic set by the Hinsdale South Band played. And yours truly gets to make a speech, and we're going to have a moment of silence for all those who perished in 9/11. So those are a few of the events we're going to have that month. And I want to get this information out there because I want people to know that Darien is making this effort to remember 9/11. We're also going to have the T-shirts. Yeah. Talk about the T-shirts. The medallions that I gave out to the aldermen will be available. We'll give those out to a lot of the children who are going to be participating in the event. They were beautifully done, and again, they were designed by some students from Hinsdale South High School. I think she's going to get a copy of the T-shirt. We're going to do a fundraiser as well with these T-shirts, and we're going to be giving the money to the Darien Historical Society. So I really want to publicize this and get this out there because I want people to know about the parade. And again, the parade's going to be a solemn parade. It's not going to be where you're going to have the sirens. The lights will be on all the vehicles, but the sirens will be off. And again, it'll be solemn because we want people to remember what happened that day. And when you think about it, a lot of our children were not even born when that event took place. So we want them to be aware of the significance of that day. So I'll let April go get what she's going to get, but I wanted to note those few things there. And lastly, this is more for the City Council. August 18th is the Dupage Mayors and Managers Conference dinner, where the old officers are recognized and the new officers are brought in. And she has a picture.
May I approach the bench?
Yes. All right. This is going to be a T-shirt that's going to have 20 Darien Remembers. It's going to be on the T-shirt. I think these are going to be, what, about $25?
I think we might get them for 22.
And then part of he's going to take his money that he needs, and then the remainder is going to go to the Historical Society. So these shirts will be available as well. DuPage Mayors and Managers, again, they're going to have their dinner on August 18th. Yours truly is the vice president this year of DuPage Mayors and Managers. Mr. Rotten Gunter, the mayor of Westmont, is the president. He has told us he's going to have 2 tables there that night, and I'm very happy to announce that Alderwoman Sullivan and Clerk Regona will be joining me and my wife there. If any of you would like to join your mayor that day, I think the city will pick up the cost of your dinner.
And spouse.
And for your spouse as well. So if you want to go, call Lisa Clem, and Lisa will make the reservations for you for that evening. And that's my report for tonight. I know it's a little longer than what you expected. City Clerk's report. Joanne?
No report this evening, Mayor.
City Administrator's report. Brian?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. The one item under the report is the garbage contract that the City Council talked about a couple of weeks last council meeting 2 weeks ago. And basically, the two outstanding questions that staff is asking and looking for direction was the scope of services and the issue of RFP, request for proposal versus, negotiating a new contract. So I think that, when I brought that up to the city council a couple weeks ago, I brought it up only because the city has done it both ways in terms of we've renegotiated and extended contracts, we've gone to bid. So I just brought that up as an option very easily. It's a Word document. It's very easy to go to bid for those. Really, what's more important at this point, at least to me, is the scope of services we're trying to get that so we can put in the RFP, basically carts versus a current sticker program. The staff could put any bid together that would include, as an example, it would include a cart program, and as an alternative, the current program we have. We can do that fairly easy. I have a couple of emails I got from residents, but I think it'll be what it was 5 years ago. There'll be emails the city council will get, as Clerk Regona mentioned, if a program becomes more expensive for them because they use one or two stickers. We'll hear from the residents, and there's no doubt about that. That was one of the focuses we tried to do on a senior program at the $12 for carts and some other benefits. But at this point, those are really the two questions for the council.
I would look at requests for a proposal in different cart sizes. I'm thinking from a business standpoint, whether the truck comes and picks a big cart or a small one, it's not that big of a difference cost-wise for them. So I'm surprised they didn't offer the different options for different carts initially in a proposal. Honestly, I'd like to see the sticker, but I'm willing to compromise for a proposal if we have different cart options, different cart sizes. So I'd request for a bid proposal, as our treasurer had mentioned.
I think, and again, whatever direction the council wants to move in, there were several things that I had residents tell me they wanted. Residents wanted free yard waste pickup. Residents wanted to put, if they had a 95-gallon cart and they had a big party that weekend and they had more garbage than that cart could hold, they wanted to be able to put a bag next to it, and they didn't want to have to put a sticker on it. And so they wanted unlimited garbage pickup. We asked for that. They want electronics and hazardous waste pickup at a reasonable price. They wanted a bulk item they could put out. The reason we wanted to go to a cart program is right now people have bins for recycling, and many of you know that you put a bin out and you put your newspapers in there, and those newspapers are all over the neighborhood on a windy day. The cart would have a top to it, have wheels, you could wheel it up and down. So those were things I heard from people that they wanted. They wanted to get rid of the bins, they wanted unlimited pickup, they wanted hazardous waste and electronics pickup, and they wanted free yard waste pickup. And so whatever contract we negotiate, I'd like to see those items in an RFP. I'd like to know that's what we're going to get. And again, I've talked to mayors from other communities, and I've had mayors from other communities tell me, you don't want this hauler because this hauler is not a good hauler. I mean, and I've heard that from other mayors. I think the quality is important. As I told Alderman Kenny, you can go with someone who gives you a cheaper price, but if the quality is not there, the phone's going to be ringing upstairs on Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday morning by people telling you they're not happy with their garbage pickup. So we need to be real careful with regard to the quality. We need to do our due diligence. But the question is, what do you want, and do you want that in an RFP? Lester.
I think going out to bid would be important because it protects the integrity of the process and the fairness of the process. So I believe we should go out for an RFP to have multiple bids for unlimited garbage as well as stickers, since stickers are important to our seniors, and we'll figure out if it works or not. I mean, if it works for them or not, but I think that option should still be there. So, and so that's where I'm on that.
Mary?
I definitely feel we should go out to bid and have an RFP process, allowing us to compare and contrast various services. I also think, I'm a cart girl, and I have always been, but I understand the sticker process. Alderman Kenny brought up a point tonight with the snowbirds, people who are gone. I have neighbors also that are gone a good part of the summer to their place in Michigan. So it gives them the flexibility to not be paying for a service that they're not utilizing. Unless we can find a cart program that is just, the cost is too good to not secure, and then walk away from the sticker program. But I think we need to weigh all of our options available.
Alderman Kenny?
I'm gonna request the RFP, even though I don't totally believe that's the best process all the time. It's just, if we were gonna have a basketball team together and Michael Jordan was out there, would we do an RFP on that? I mean, I know it's silly and it's, but I think that, Brian and you, Mayor, you guys are in it all the time and you're seeing what's going on a day-to-day basis. That being said, it is a governmental body, and I think a lot of residents don't see what, some of us on the council see on a day-to-day basis. So, and the city of Darien has always been known for being a transparent body. So, I'm going to request an RFP, and I just hope that, residents know that once we get that RFP, that it's a negotiation at some point, and you're not going to get everything on a negotiation. I remember last time I voted for the stickers because I had a lot of residents wanted stickers, and then we got the sticker. I got a nasty phone call the following Saturday after it went through, screaming that they lost their senior citizen discounts on the cans because they had the stickers, and it was trying to explain to them it's a negotiation. You're not going to get everything with it. So we'll see how it rolls out. No pun intended.
Ted?
We're definitely going to do RFP. We have to. We'd be doing a disservice to everybody in the city of Darien. But one of the things that we're definitely going to do with this RFP, and we're going to definitely check with other municipalities that some of these places service to make sure that that service is up to par, because we want to compare some apples to apples. I mentioned it before, I'm going to say it again. We had some major issues before we have our current refuse, and it just got to be a point where you get phone calls week in and week out, and there's issues. It got to be a nightmare. There was weeks when they would skip over my entire block. It just gets old after a while. So these are the things that we definitely want to check on out as we go forward. When in regards to the stickers as well as the carts, okay, I've had both, okay? I love both, all right? Here's the situation with the stickers, and I'm going to say it as a disservice. We say, no, we're not going to do stickers. Great. What's the cost of it? We don't know. We didn't bid out for it. The point is, we need to know exactly what the stickers are going to be so we can go back to their residents and say, this is what the costs are going to be. If it's $5.50 per sticker, and I'm not saying it's going to be, then that's where we start to ask ourselves, what's our trade-off, okay? And that's what we need to do. So the point is, yeah, we should do an RFP. We're definitely got to check in the prices for stickers as well as the carts. But again, we want to, definitely, when we get to the point of negotiation, like Alderman Kenny said, we're going to do a lot of, background checks on these, because we want to make sure, we're getting taken care of, because we don't want to go through what we had before.
And what people I think are going to have to understand too is the Waste Management referred to it last time, and they're not just saying it because they were trying to get a contract. I think it's true and it's fair. The more that the price of that sticker goes up, the less people are going to actually buy stickers, and the people that are using cans or they're doing the system the right way, they're the ones going to be sitting there paying the bill, because people are going to be going ahead and dumping garbage other places. So, just because you have the stickers doesn't mean it's going to be the best product on the street.
Right, and we gotta explain that to the people of the city of Darien. I agree with you. So
Everybody's agreed. Mike?
Sorry, Joe, I got to throw my 2 cents in here. I appreciate your comment that a lot of people you talk to say, yeah, we'd like unlimited this, we'd like unlimited that. Everybody would like unlimited that. But again, at what cost? I think as we go through the process, I think it's important, like a bulk item. Yeah, how often do you have a bulk item, or a TV, or a recycling item? If you have a TV once a year, I mean, even that I think would be a little bit of a stretch. Is it worth a $25 a month fee versus a $15 a month fee. That's $10 extra. That's $120 a year. Do they still want that? So I think it's important to bid it out so that you know what the additional costs are on these, and then make the intelligent decision that, okay, we want a totally inclusive program, or we want the less expensive program, and then maybe it costs you an extra $10 of stickers to throw on this one particular bulk item you might have. So I think it's just important to know, as opposed to having an all-inclusive, to have an à la carte there as you're going through the process.
I think the thing that people need to understand, and it goes a little bit with what Alderman Kennedy said, there are, whatever contract we go with, whatever we bid out and whatever we get and whatever decision we make after negotiating, there's going to be somebody who's going to be unhappy with that.
Right.
Whether we get rid of the stickers, or the sticker price goes up, or they don't get unlimited garbage, or they don't get recycling people are going to be unhappy. I think the thing you need to do is minimize that unhappiness. Try to get the best contract that's going to fit our clientele, our public. And I think we better have a pretty good idea what our public wants with regard to waste hauling, because we're going to have to make a decision on what we're going to live with, what we're going to accept in a contract, and what we're not going to accept in a contract.
I fully agree. But again, I think what you were implying was that it's got to be this Cadillac where everything's getting accepted, and that obviously is going to be at a higher cost. Maybe 90%, maybe 10% of the people would want that, but maybe the other 90% would rather say, hey, I'd rather have it $10 cheaper a month and then pay an extra few dollars when I do have that particular circumstance. That's all I'm saying. So I think it's important to know the difference in this.
I went to Waste Management originally, and the gentleman sitting in the back will tell you, the first time we met, I said, give me an $8 a month card for senior citizens. And they said they would try to work that in, and they came back and said, the best we can do is give you a $12 card.
Yeah, well, everybody needs to make their own decision. I mean,
Right.
they got their own
So,
businesses to run. I'm not implying that.
I was looking out for I was trying to come up with something for senior citizens that would accommodate those people who only want to put out a bag they would at least have a cart they could wheel down to the street. But, Mike, it'll all be part of this process.
Well, that's all I'm suggesting, is that it all be known so you know all the pieces, instead of just going out for the Cadillac without knowing what the Oldsmobile or old name or a Buick might be.
We're not worth a Cadillac, Mike? All right. I think, Brian, you have your direction? Or do you-
Sure. No, I will, I'll prepare a draft RFP based on what I'm understanding tonight, and send it back to the council. Probably 2 meetings out, and make sure everybody, that it captures what everybody's looking for, and then we'll go from there.
Oh, thank you. Just one quick comment. Does it have to be 5 years? And can Attorney Murphy, as Alderman Schauer mentioned, put in a clause that the first year, if we get 100 complaints, then we have the possibility of opening it up to change it, right? I mean, Alderman Schauer made a good point that does it have to be 5 years? Can you put a clause in there that says we have so many unhappy customers and we want to be able to open it back up, looking at it from a different angle if that's an issue from a customer service standpoint? Because
I don't anticipate getting to the point where we would recommend a company that had a lot of problems. But the contract, whether it's 3 or 5 years or 1 year, is up to the city. So if you'd have to put out, I think for a hauler, you'd probably have to put out, be very specific about that, because some of the haulers may be investing a lot of money. If it's a newer hauler and they pick up Darien, that's maybe new trucks they have to buy.
Okay.
So it would have to be thought of. I mean, there's probably service levels or complaints, but I know what you're saying, and I'll have to look into that.
Okay, yeah,
It's a way to it's just a way to require excellent service for the residents. I don't remember the example Alderman Schauer brought up, but we've had generally very good success with all of our haulers. If the council remembers, a number of years ago, which I'm not suggesting now, but we included as an option an amnesty day. And a company, in order to get the contract, gave us an amnesty price of $35,000. All the other companies were at 100 and some thousand. So you might get some of that, but I'll check on the performance measurements we would have. But there's not been a garbage company here yet that I would say, wow, we should have kicked them out. And I don't anticipate that, but I could check on that.
Okay, that takes us to department head information and questions. Do we have anybody have any questions for Chief Thomas, or does Chief Thomas have anything he wants to present?
I do have one announcement. Tomorrow's the National Night Out from 5 to 8 at Community Park. I'll do this again. National Night Out is tomorrow, Tuesday, August 3rd, from 5 to 8 in the Community Park. And then one of the comments during the discussion on noise was about decibel. There is no decibel level built into the ordinance, so even if you had a decimal meter, it would mean nothing. You'd have to change the ordinance to say what decibel was inappropriate.
How does someone say if it's a nuisance, right? I can say I don't like Tom's shirt, someone else likes it, right? So if something like that actually went to court and the ticket was issued, how do you prove it?
Well, we wouldn't issue a ticket because you didn't like a shirt. We would have to issue a ticket based on a criminal statute or a local ordinance, and go from there. And the local ordinance does give a definition of what is loud music.
Okay.
But it's not a decimal level.
Chief, can you just clarify? It's a question I asked you when we met. In terms of any kind of disturbance, I think to issue something, you would need a resident complaint. I don't know that everybody really understands that.
The courts have often found that you can't alarm and disturb a police officer. We're immune to that. So typically when there's a issue of noise or disorderly conduct, it requires somebody to file a complaint. Police can't do that on your behalf.
Any questions for Mr. Gombeck?
I'm sorry, Chief. I had one more, only because a resident had asked me while we're during the meeting. The flyer for tomorrow's event mentioned vendors in there. Do you know that really doesn't refer to food vendors? They're talking about other entities that might have booths set up, I believe.
Yeah, they're the same general vendors, quote unquote, that show up. So you have. I think last year we had McDonald's giving out some freebies, and you had, I think, one of the pet companies and different agencies like that.
Okay. Thanks.
Any questions for Dan? Or any updates, Dan?
No updates this evening.
Thank you. Treasurer's report, Mike, warrant 21-2207.
Getting a lot of exercise tonight. This evening, I'm requesting council's approval of warrant number 21-2207 in the amount of $820,695.29 from the listed funds. Payroll for the period ended July 29th in the amount of $256,738.44 for a total to be approved of $1,077,433.73.
Motion to approve. Alderman Shower, second by Alderman Vaughn. Any questions or comments for the treasurer? If none, the roll.
Shower.
Aye.
Vaughn.
Aye.
Sullivan.
Aye.
Kenny.
Aye.
Clistic.
Aye.
5 ayes and 2 absent.
Warrant's been approved. Takes us to standing committee reports. Do any of the aldermen have any standing committee reports to give? Mary?
The Administrative Finance Committee met tonight upstairs in the conference room, and our next meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, September 7th, since Monday is Labor Day, at 6 p.m. in the conference room. The August Economic Development Committee meeting has been canceled. The next one will be held on Thursday, September 2nd at 7 p.m. in council chambers.
Thank you, Mary. Joe?
I'm going to yield some of my time to Treasurer Corrin. Looks like he's got something else to
Thanks,
say.
I didn't want to sit down and then come up again. The quarterly meeting for the Police Pension Fund will be held this Thursday, August the 5th, across the street at the Police Department. The actuary will be presenting his current year actuarial report at that meeting. All are welcome to attend. I also spoke to Brian. He will be doing a presentation also at City Council. We're going to try to get him at the next council meeting. If not, it'll be at that first meeting in September, just based on his availability.
Mike, could we have him do it the first meeting in September? Next meeting, we have another young man who's going to be mayor for a day, and I would prefer to have him make it through, get out a little earlier than 10:15.
You keep doing this to us, Joe. I'll check his availability.
Thank you.
Okay.
Anything else?
Speaking of police training room, the police committeemen will have their next meeting pending agenda items in the police training room on Monday, August 16th, 2021 at 6 p.m.
Thank you, Joe. And do we have any update on municipal services, Dan?
Not at this time, no.
Okay. Joanne?
It's on the calendar at this time for August the 23rd at 7 p.m. And I'm sure it's pending items.
Pending items, that is correct.
All right, that takes us to number 14, questions and comments, agenda related. Does anybody in the audience want to address the council on an item on the agenda? If none, just to let everybody know, you can see that we have no old business. And we made a decision during our workshop session to take letters A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, and J and move those to the consent agenda. And item I will be the lone remaining, it will be the new letter A under new business. So this is our consent agenda. Item A, consideration of a motion to approve a petition requesting relief from the City Code Section 751B8 of the Chicken Ordinance to grant approval for an existing perimeter fence to remain at a height of 5 feet instead of the required 6 feet by ordinance. Request is made pursuant to the City Code Section 751C for property located at 911 Hickory Lane that is zoned single-family residence district R2. Item B, consideration of a motion to approve a petition requesting relief from the City Code Section 751B5 and 7B1B8 of the Chicken Ordinance to grant approval for an existing chicken coop to remain at 11 feet from the rear lot line instead of the required 20 feet and allow a portion rear yard of the existing perimeter fence to remain at a height of 5 feet instead of the required 6 feet by ordinance. Request is made pursuant to City Code Section 51C for property located at 7934 Farmingdale Drive that is zoned single-family residence district R2. Item C, consideration of a motion to approve a resolution authorizing the mayor and the city clerk to accept a proposal from Patent Cat for purchase and installation of one new Cat N loader payload bucket monitor system from Altifer Cat in an amount not to exceed $6,213.65. Item D, consideration of a motion to approve a resolution authorizing the mayor to accept a proposal from Suburban Laboratories Incorporated for the 2021-22 bacteriological and chemical radiological LT2 water sampling program in an amount not to exceed $5,846.80. Item E, consideration of a motion to approve a resolution authorizing the mayor to accept a proposal for Christopher B. Burke Engineering for the professional design services related to the lawn conversion to native plantings at the southeast quadrant of 74th Street and Elm Street in an amount not to exceed $8,000. Item F, consideration of a motion authorizing city staff to proceed with securing materials, installation, and restoration for the sanitary sewer project for the municipal services facility located at 1041 South Frontage Road in an amount not to exceed $35,671.76. Item G, consideration of a motion to approve a resolution authorizing the mayor to accept a proposal to purchase sanitary sewer-related items from Norwalk Tank Company in an amount not to exceed $9,306.21. Item H, consideration of a motion to approve a resolution authorizing the mayor to accept a proposal to purchase sanitary sewer iron frames and lids from EJ USA Incorporated in an amount not to exceed $2,735.30. And item I, consideration of motion to grant a waiver of a raffle license bond requirement for the Woods Ridge Rotary Club. Motion to approve. Alderman Shower, seconded by Alderman Vaughn, and the roll.
Shower,
Aye.
Vaughn,
Aye.
Clistic,
Aye.
Kenny,
Aye.
Sullivan,
Aye.
5 ayes and 2 absent.
The consent agenda has been approved. We have one item under new business. Consideration of a motion to approve the August 12th, 13th, 14th, and 15th as the date for the Darien Chamber of Commerce to hold the Darien Fest 2021 celebration at the Darien Plaza parking lot and providing police protection for the Darien Fest 2021 as per attached, the attached agreement. Motion to approve. Alderman Shower, second by Alderman Vaughn, and discussion. Alderman Clistak.
Just the one comment I want to make is Darien Fest is usually a family event. I think maybe a lot of residents are seeing Lollapalooza recently, that those pictures might be in your mind of people coming off the train, this and that. And I think with Darien Fest, that's not necessarily the case.
Mary?
Just piggybacking on what Tom said, I've been in Darien forever. I've had young kids, teenage kids, all, I myself have enjoyed many birthdays at Darien Fest when it was held in September. And it's always been a great event to gather our community. I do think that, some people, I think, saw Q-Bar, and even though Q-Bar clearly is part of the strip mall, it's not the entire facility, it's the lot. They thought, okay, what happened to the park, and now it's at a bar? Well, it's not at the bar, it's in the lot. So I think we just need to remind people that it's a family-friendly event, and be mindful that even though there were residents and businesses around Community Park, there is, with the change of location, it is right next to Cass Avenue. And, I spent many years going to the Downers Grove Fest, and people will ignore no parking signs. They will park where they want to park because they're going to have kids in the car that want to get to the carnival ride, or they want to take advantage of the wristband. And I think we need to do everything we can as a chamber, as a city, as a police department to make sure that we, protect our businesses and our residents in that area. If the intention is for not having people park west of Cass Avenue, then we need to put up some type of signs without blocking streets and patrol it, whether it's with police or volunteers, to make sure people aren't ignoring that. Just because businesses need to still function as businesses, and residents, might have planned a graduation party or a bridal shower at their house and not realizing that, there was going to be a fest going on across the street and they need to have access to their street.
Anyone else? Ted?
So the residents at home, just as a reminder, what we're approving is for the police, and that we're providing police for Darien Fest. Darien Fest is going to occur basically in a private area, not on city property, okay? With that said, we've had some concerns from residents today, basically saying we're concerned that they're going to be on their lawns, they're going to be doing this. Even Michael's, building over in his subdivision. Trust me, I get it, I totally understand it. Here's the situation, it's going to go forward, okay? We're providing police protection, okay? Because guess what? It's going to cost us extra money, but we are the city of Darien. If we are a different city and there is a different fest that's going on, there's always going to be something that happens in a city that you're going to need to provide extra police protection for. At the same time, we also have had an agreement with the chamber, basically that they would reimburse us based on their sales. We've worked this out for 5, 6, 7 years now. I don't even remember how long it's been going on, but it has worked. So the point I'm trying to make is that we're going to do the best job we can. We are going to provide the police, all right? I'm in support of it, and hopefully we'll get some money back from it, from the sales and so forth. And most importantly, I guarantee you the police are going to be walking around, not only around Darien Fest, but in that vicinity as well, to make sure that we're going to try and control any issues as best as possible. I'll say that and leave it at that.
Anyone else? If not, the roll.
Shower,
Aye.
Vaughn,
Aye.
Sullivan,
Aye.
Kenny,
Aye.
Clistic,
Aye.
5 ayes and 2 absent.
Motion's been approved. It takes us to questions, comments, and announcements of a general nature. Do any of the aldermen have anything they'd like to add for the sake of the council? I would like to congratulate the Darien Lions Club and the Darien Park District. Last night, they ran a Darien Day in the park at the North Pavilion. Lions Club sold food. The Park District contracted with a band by the name of Cadillac Groove, who played for 2 hours. They were wonderful. They were excellent. And there were probably 350 to 400 people sitting in that park. And just to remind some of the residents who might be concerned about sound, right on the other side of 71st Street were homes lined up all the way down. And those people came out in their driveway and sat there and listened to the music. And then there's also homes on Clarendon Hills Road. And it really went well. So I want to congratulate the Lions for what they did. And I want to congratulate the Park District for selecting such a good band that entertained a lot of people last night. Anything else? If none, motion to adjourn. Alderman Kennedy, second by Alderman Shower. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everybody.
Oh, man.